Hello everyone and welcome to another video, and I really wanted to make this video a while ago, and I just decided it's time for this because Monza turn 1, and this is just my opinion. I have to say in the intro of the video, this is something completely subjective. I know a couple of you, or maybe all of you, will disagree with me, but I think there are a couple of things that we need to change when it comes to driving at GT7 and especially at Monza. So I just decided to take this replay because it was probably one of the worst races that I've seen in GT7 so far. I mean, so this is me at starting the game at P15, moving up to P14, even before the first turn, the infamous turn 1. And I just wanted to share my opinion and why is this so infamous about heavy crashes and in general what's going on here. So you can see whenever you get into the lobby, and this is as usual, carnage at first turn. And there are a couple of reasons why I believe this is happening so often now, and the first one be rolling starts. So the rolling starts are much closer now than they were at the beginning of Gran Turismo 7, and you just have to be aware that the car in front isn't so far away. He is very close, and that's the first reason that I believe there are so many crashers around this point. And the other point is that people are not really braking at the braking marker. So if you ever watch one of my track guide videos, if you ever watched me basically race around the circuit, I always say watch your braking points. Know your braking spots, and in general you're just gonna become a much better driver. So you just have to know your braking points, and that's pretty much half of the job. So usual braking point in normal conditions in a normal lap, which is not the first lap, would be the 150 meter mark. So I'm just gonna have a little look at the back so you can see it's right about there. So this is the 150 meter sign. If this is a first lap in a rolling start, this is your reference point. This is your braking point. So as soon as you get to this point, you brake. And if you miss that point even slightly, you're pretty much going to hit the guy in front of you. As I can see, he broke slightly. Maybe it was 5 meters later. It's not much. It's maybe 5 meters. It's nothing. But at this speed, it's really important because then you cannot really brake. You have the speed, and then you hit the guy in front, and all of a sudden there is absolute carnage. As you can see here, it was an absolute carnage. I think like 10 people got involved in this accident. It was crazy. And I do believe like not braking at the braking marker is another problem that most of the people are not addressing. So you just have to lift a little bit and then brake at the braking point. If you want to make all of that time in turn 1, that's not going to be the case. 90% of the time, that's not going to be the case. If the guy in front knows, okay, you're going from the behind, he's gonna move. Yeah, maybe then, but that's like 10% of the case, maybe even 5, maybe even less. Another thing that I wanted to address in this scenario is inconsistent braking, and this is one of the reasons that most of the people crash here. And if you're gonna have an on board, as I believe with most of the drivers, you can see inconsistent. It's going on and off, on and off, on and off. So he was careful. I mean, not to say anything, he was very careful. And if you're inconsistent like that, of course you want to carry as much speed as you possibly can. And this made it up. Yeah, just because he was careful, he got it into P4. But if you hit the braking point, which I said in the intro of the video, and by the way, he's driving the Corvette, and the braking is starting right about here. This is being careful. This is actually good. But if you're just this early on the brakes, then the guy behind has to brake at that point. So you always need to brake at the braking point. That's it. And you always need to know what car are you driving. So that's another topic. If you're driving the AMG or if you're driving the Supra, your braking points are slightly off because you're carrying even more or less speed depending on the car. So inconsistent braking is something that in the end is going to slow you down. So you hit the braking point, you brake, and then you trail brake in that turn. So that's a perfect scenario. But as you can see, just being careful in the end really made it up for him. So just going from the rolling starts, and they're being much closer now, and not braking at the braking marker, missing it by as little as 5 meters, because this track is so quick. And just by simple physics, if you delay your braking inputs by, let's say, half a second, that means you're gonna travel at much higher speed before you reach the apex, and it's gonna take more time for you to eventually stop the car from you know, basically comparing that to your initial braking point. And another point is that people got a lot of penalties, so just stay away from penalties. I know it sounds super simple, I mean, what am I saying? But in general, penalties are slowing you down, and if you get involved in a crash, yeah, that's it. That's game over for you. A 3-second penalty or even 5-second penalty, as you just saw here, is completely game-changing for you. So you're either first or last. 3 seconds here, it's absolutely, it's terrible. Let's be honest, it's terrible. And one more thing you have to address is the slipstream effect. So if you're in the slipstream, you always need to know where to brake because you are carrying more speed. And I mean, this thing was absolutely incredible. What was going on? So this guy. Okay, I think he made a little, a little mistake just by doing that, because you can see he has a damaged rear bumper from the incident before, and all of a sudden, not really hitting the braking point, unsettling the car because of the contact, and that's pretty much about it. So at this point, you should already be on the brakes because this is usually the braking point. So we are going back to the basics of this video. We are going back to the beginning. So this is the braking point here, or if you're in the slipstream, I would use the barrier because you're just carrying more speed into the turn. And if you're having an incident, I think just in the end this was an incident, that's it. I don't think Leah is a dirty player, don't get me. If anyone says this is dirty, this is not. It was just, I believe this is just unfortunate because I just seen a lot of these drivers. They are quick, they are reasonable, but it's Monza. It's what happens here. And just the thing is that you always have to leave space, like Alonso said, I think, a couple of times.
Okay, he pushed me off the track. I think you have to leave the space. All the time you have to leave the space.
So you just have to leave the space. So we are going back to the basics. We are always going to the basics of this video. Rolling starts, the car much closer now. You're not braking at the braking point. Your braking is not consistent. And you're carrying more speed into the turn. And then if you're in the slipstream, of course, there is going to be some kind of carnage. It's always going to be some carnage. And there is definitely one more thing, and it's the benefit of people getting involved in accidents. And if you just leave the space, if you're just being careful, you're going to be in P6 like I was in this race. Maybe not every race, maybe you don't want to agree with me, but I started this race in P15. So this was P15 for me. And one lap later, I'm in P3. So what was going on? It wasn't my, it wasn't my driving style. It wasn't something that I've done, because no one can get like 12 places in one lap, because it's absolutely, yeah, that just doesn't happen. But all of the guys behind me, they either had penalties or got involved in some kind of crash. But I just want to conclude this one with, I wanted to say something wise, but I guess I think I said it, most of it. But this track is so infamous because there are only a couple of braking points, and I couldn't really find any track out there where you're carrying so much speed. So this is probably pretty much the fastest track that you can find in Gran Turismo 7, apart from some other tracks that are basically ovals. You're carrying much more speed than on the other circuits, and if you miss your braking point slightly, I'm talking about meter or 2 meters, you're just gonna miss the turn. You're just gonna miss the apex, because it's just the way it works. As I said before, it's simple physics. You just need to know your braking point. If you miss it by 1 meter, that means that you're gonna just travel a little bit longer than you expected. So I think this is the reason why so many incidents are happening on the circuit, and I really want to advise everyone, just leave people some space. Basically, you are going to benefit from this. You are going to benefit from this because you left the space, you didn't get involved in some kind of carnage, you didn't get involved in some kind of accident, and you didn't get a penalty, your car is intact, and in general, you are good to go. And always watch your mirrors, because in the end, this is what makes the difference between finishing basically on the podium and not even finishing, basically rage quitting. So guys, I hope you liked this video, and I know a lot of people will not agree with me, but I just wanted to say a couple of my, a couple of points that I made about this track and in general rating. So I hope you liked it. If you did, you can even smash the like button. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.